Hi everybody, and welcome to today's video, where we are going to be taking a closer look at Dying Light 2 Stay Human. So with this being the first review on the channel, I just wanted to quickly go over how we're going to approach these, and that's by breaking them down into three parts, those being the story, gameplay, and the visuals. We're going to score each one of those individually, and then give you an overall score and impression at the end. So diving straight into it, the story. Dying Light 2 takes place 22 years after the events of the original game. We're now in the year 2036, and since the destruction of Harran from the first game, the GRE were able to develop a vaccine for that Harran virus, ending the threat of the global zombie pandemic. But the GRE continued experimenting on the virus in secret, of course, and in 2021 a mutated variant of the Harran virus escaped a GRE lab and into the world. Now this strain was worse than the original virus and very quickly sweeps across the entire globe in an event named The Fall. The vaccine and antizin are now ineffective against this new strain, but its effects can be suppressed by ultraviolet light. You play as Aidan Caldwell, a pilgrim. A pilgrim is essentially a runner that braves the wilds going between settlements, and he decides to make a journey to Villedor, one of the last remaining human settlements, in order to search for his long-lost sister Mia. So how does the main story play out? Does it make you care? In short, no, not really. Look, I could see what they were going for, but for me, it just didn't land. It feels a little incoherent at times, and you find yourself only half engaged. Now, in fairness, it is always more difficult to build a meaningful and impactful storyline into an open world game. Very few developers manage to do it successfully. Now, I did have high hopes, as I really enjoyed the original Dying Light story, and looking back, that is definitely superior to Dying Light 2's storyline. I don't really want to go into spoilers so much, so I'm not going to spend too much time discussing the details of the main story, but just know that you probably won't care that much. Now, side quests I will count as story. Dying Light 2 has some very random and sometimes seemingly pointless side quests, like fetching a survivor's scarf, finding a new pair of shoes, collect this backpack for me and bring it back. Not the most imaginative, they're all just a little lacking and you don't really meet any exciting characters while doing them. You'll very quickly find yourself just smashing that skip button to get through the dialogue so you can crack on. So my score based on just the story alone and side quests is going to be a 5 out of 10. It's just a very average middling story. There's a few high points, but it just doesn't hold your attention long enough for you to care. Moving on to the gameplay. Now, in my opinion, the gameplay is what really saves this game. It's clear that this was prioritised over the story, which is not necessarily a bad thing. If you had to pick one, you'd want the gameplay to be there. You know, there's no point in having a great storyline and no gameplay. In an ideal world, we'd have both, but if we have to sacrifice one a little, let's sacrifice the story, and I'll be happy to be engrossed with the gameplay. First off, the parkour in this game is by far the best I have ever experienced. Techland have created over 3,000 parkour animations to give you a more fluid, free-running experience, and it really, really shows. Now first, it's going to take you a little bit of time to get used to that. Once you do, and once you've leveled up your parkour skill tree, you're going to find yourself flying over rooftops with ease in a super smooth fashion. It is very, very rewarding. On top of this, you're going to be given a paraglider and a grappling hook, which are going to help you traverse the landscape in any way you want, especially later on in the game. Once you get to the central loop, which is the larger city, the paraglider and grappling hook are essential. There are plenty of activities to keep you busy, like exploring Dark Hollows, defeating GRE anomalies, exploring GRE quarantine buildings, pillaging crashed military and evacuation convoys. You've also got things like parkour challenges and fighting challenges, so plenty for you to crack on with. And while completing those, you are going to come across several different enemy types. You've got your normal boys, your big boys, your spitter boys, your charger boys, all of those traditional zombie types that you can sink your teeth into. Some more dangerous than others though. Now, to help you deal with all of these enemies, you would of course be given a varying array of weapon options. They're pretty much in line with the previous Dying Light in that you're going to have blunt versions and slashing type weapons. They'll either allow you to explode somebody's head or chop it off. They can also be modified like the original game to include effect damage, stuff like fire, frost, shock, poison and so on. Now, as always, and as in the previous game, there is a durability meter for these weapons, and as soon as that runs out, the weapon will be destroyed. Now, quick tip here is that every modification you make to a weapon will repair its durability by 50 points. So make sure that you are staggering your modifications to really take advantage of that. Find a weapon, use 50 durability, modify it, 50 durability, modify it, 50 durability, modify it, and then use the whole durability up. You'll be able to use that for much, much longer. Quick mention on the loot side. In the early game, make sure that you are looting absolutely everyone and everything. As you progress, you can ease off on this, as you will just be purchasing your crafting ingredients from the multiple vendors around the city. One thing to make sure that you are always doing and continue to do is looting zombies. Reason being is that you will need the zombie trophies to purchase and unlock the additional blueprints from the craftsman. Now, as we know, hence the name, Dying Light is known for its day and night cycle, and that also continues in Dying Light 2. Now, although due to a few changes in the setup of how the nighttime works, you'll find yourself being less afraid to go out in it than you were in Dying Light 1. I know for myself that in Dying Light 1, especially that first time going out at night or being caught outside, terrifying, adrenaline rush, get back to safety. In this one, I was out on day one at night time. It's just far more safe to be out than it was in the previous Dying Light. Not necessarily a bad thing, they're trying to encourage you to be able to go out at night. There's also certain activities that can only be completed at night time. There is a nice little mechanic with your immunity being lowered while it's night time, so you have to keep hopping from safe spot to safe spot. You'll find out about that in the story, I won't say too much more. So overall, the gameplay for Dying Light 2 is more than satisfying, as you glide over rooftops with ease, leaping giant distances to land on an infected and smash their face into the ground. It's as always satisfying, chopping up a horde of zombies and seeing body parts going flying everywhere. This will never get old. So overall, my gameplay score for Dying Light 2 is an 8 out of 10. So, last but not least, the visuals. I love them. I think it looks great. The city designs are beautiful. When in Villedor, I always get this kind of medieval feel, like humanity has reverted back 1,000 years, and the music just ties in with this perfectly. Let me know if you felt the same when you play it, when you first get introduced to this. The music that kicks off, the way the city looks, the way it feels very medieval, and I think that they went for that and they nailed it if that's what they were doing. Nighttime looks great. It's got these little pockets of purple, ultraviolet light everywhere that are highlighting safe zones. The lighting as the sun sets and rises gives you some amazing views. Very, very well done. The visuals really, truly are next gen. 8 out of 10. On average, it's going to take you around 30 to 50 hours to complete the main story and side quests. Obviously, that could be considerably longer if you are completing absolutely everything. You certainly won't get 500 hours out of this game, as was originally stated and maybe misinterpreted beforehand, but 30 to 50 hours easily. With all that taken into account, I'm going to give Dying Light 2 a 7 out of 10. Which I feel is about right. The game has some really great aspects, with its shining light being the parkour, but it also has a bit of a dark hollow of a story. Pros and cons. So overall, guys, for the part-time gamer, is this worth your time? Yes. Especially if you enjoyed the first one, Dying Light 2 just builds on that, and it is definitely worth playing. Now, as always, if you enjoyed this video, then please like and comment. And be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon to make sure that you catch our next review video, which is going to be Horizon Forbidden West. For now, thanks for watching.
Fry the onion until translucent. Of course, we don't have any of these. So we'll just eat what we got.